Hey guys, so I was going to record a vlog yesterday of me baking something, but unfortunately I spent so much time cleaning the kitchen that I was too exhausted to. So, today I have to do a bunch of writing for class because, of course, I didn't actually do any this week. So I'm just going to write a bunch and then read some of it to you as I go, and hopefully that'll be slightly interesting. I think it will be. Alright, so I finished a draft of my folktale story. I guess this is like the second or third draft, but I really need to move on because I only have so much time for class and need to write that other story. So I'm just gonna read this to you and then move on. Keep in mind this is a rough draft. I still have no ending for it, unfortunately, but yeah, I hope you like it. Maybe once I finish it, I'll read it again or something. So this is tentatively called The River in Dreams. There is a place that exists only in dreams, a place that has been visited by many but remembered by few. It is a mighty river, a river that courses, thrashes, and churns. It is a river made not of water, but of ink. On one of its shores is a thick and dark forest, out of which wandering dreamers stumble with no knowledge of how they got there, but an innate understanding of where they are. These dreamers are of different countries, cultures, even worlds, but they are all writers, wordsmiths, and artists. It is here on this rocky shore with a red sky above, but no sun or moon to cast shadows, that all written works the world has known are born. These dreamers, these conduits of the river, approach its edge and carefully dip their handful of blank pages into the blackness. The pages, dripping with ink, now are packed with text. Not complete stories, but ideas, phrases, and words that the writer will take with them back into the world and craft into the books, poems, even articles we all read. In contrast, the other side of the river has no shore, only an endlessly tall wall. Its bricks are books. Its mortar, scrolls and pages. It is not in dreams that writers will travel to this side of the river, but in death. Upon jotting their final word, gasping their last breath, they will find themselves atop the endless wall. There they will bleed out every memory, unused idea, and forgotten word until there is no more ink left within them. Then their shriveled body falls behind the wall, destined for a whole different realm. A realm beyond the comprehension and imagination of the river itself, let alone any one writer. As with all things, the process isn't perfect. The river gets polluted from time to time with the fallen body of a writer whose comrades won't let go. Instead of following the intended path, the dry dead ends up floating along the river, bloating and distorting as it absorbs the ink around it. Dreamers may recognize in it a hero of theirs, a more human inspiration than the ambiguity of the river. They pick chunks of oozing black flesh off and smear them against their pages, creating works of reference, mimicry, and parody. Some of these works would have existed regardless via the will of the river, but ultimately it is an artificial process and one that disrupts the natural order. The faith of the writers in themselves and in the river has grown somewhat weaker over the years, and the river reflects it. Its shores are now littered with the grotesque shells of revered masters and recent inspirations. The river is still strong, but it doesn't have the raw vigor it used to. It's clogged, but only for so long. The river has been this way before, and it will be again. All it takes is time, and the river has all the time in the universe. A few times a century, a veteran dreamer will become dissatisfied with their visits. Unable to recognize their own ineptitude at realizing the gifts of the river into the works they were intended to be, they will blame the river itself, or, in recent years, the polluting bodies slowing the river's flow. The dreamer will sit on the rocky shore, clenching their blank pages and gazing upon the wall made up of all the books the dreamer thinks they're unable to write. If only they could get something more from the river, something stronger than a simple page dip. A brilliant idea will be whispered into their ear, not by some trickster, but by their frail human condition itself. So they walk to the very edge, carefully balancing on a few of the slippery rocks. They take a deep breath, and then dive in. They think, why not? I'm just dreaming after all. If I start to drown, I'll wake up, and if I don't, I'll get my pages soaked in ink that nobody's touched before. Or maybe I'll get the ideas directly instead of having to get them through stupid pages. The thought process of a child, but not entirely wrong. Indeed, the ink at the bottom of the river is very old, and it is very possible for the river to give its gifts to you without pages. As the dreamer swims deeper, their skin begins to absorb the ink. Intricate tattoos form all over their body, abstract designs unlike anything drawn by man for centuries. With each line is a string of ideas and memories, combining to create what would be several lifetimes of work. The skin is soon completely covered, but the ink isn't done yet. It seeps inside them, etching itself into their eyes, organs, and blood vessels. The dreamer would be screaming with pain if they weren't distracted by the flood of thoughts and memories of people centuries and millennia older than them. These people's lives, their dreams, their fears are so distant from the dreamer's life that they're ill-equipped to handle it. The terror of watching conquistadors kill your family, the despair of everybody you know, and eventually yourself succumb to the plague, the lifetime of fear that comes with being vulnerable to a wild animal's attack at any time. Even simple things like the taste of raw meat, having diarrhea in the woods with no medicine, or having sex in a dirty mud hut. The dreamer has gotten what they asked for, far more in fact, and the river, satisfied, spits them back into reality. The best outcome is slipping into a coma, their brain fried from the flood of information. More common is the immediate onset of mental illness, everything from depression to schizophrenia, as the brain clumsily handles the strain, scarring itself in the process. A handful of people make it out with relatively little memory or damage, but their fate is perhaps the worst. As long as they live, ideas will constantly bubble up from their subconscious. They will be unable to concentrate, unable to get more than a page written before switching ideas. It is a life of 1,000 beginnings and no endings, one that usually ends in suicide. But the river does not care. It does not hate, and it doesn't feel. It simply is. So that's that. That's the River in Dreams. I hope you liked it. I hope I get a chance to fix it up a little bit more. I guess I'm gonna move on to my monster story now. So back to it. So I'm having graham crackers as my snack for the afternoon because I'm not really hungry because I had breakfast, but I need to eat before I go to class. And actually recently I've developed a really horrible graham cracker addiction, which to be fair is not the worst thing I've been addicted to, like gambling. But it's just kind of weird. I hadn't had graham crackers in a year and a half, and then I bought some because I really wanted s'mores. And then ever since I just buy a box a week and just eat the whole thing. It's just so good. Oh, so my musical background playlist for today is a mix of Panic at the Disco, Bowling for Soup, and my latest obsession, Semisonic, the guys who did Closing Time. They're actually a really cool, soft rock band. You should check them out. So that monster story isn't happening right now. I'm gonna go to the lab at school and see if I can get stuff done there. That usually makes me more productive. But I can't really take my computer with me, mostly because I don't want to, and I don't feel like recording in the library. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the story that I did read. And yeah, have a good day. I'll see you probably in a few days. Bye.